There I am. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Report. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till, I don't know, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's a little bit later than 2. I don't know, it could be earlier than that. Yesterday, I think we did an hour 55. It really does depend on how the day is flowing. Yesterday we ended a little bit early. We ended it at 5 minutes short of the 2-hour mark, which is rare. We almost all, and when I get that close, typically I'll just push to the 2-hour mark, just because. But I didn't do that last. And here's what happened yesterday on yesterday's noon show. I had allotted a large amount of time for the Trump indictment coverage. But then once it started going on, I just lost all interest in it. I was just like, eh. So then I started to just do the normal show, which would be a rundown of all the day's hot topics, current events, headlines, things people are buzzing about, all that stuff. So I went into that, and I hadn't prepared nearly enough of it because I had counted on spending a big amount of time watching the Trump thing, but then there was nothing to watch. Like, there was no crowd, there was no craziness. It was just whatever. So that's what we do on this show Monday through Fridays. We give you all the day's news. I said it, headlines, hot topics, current events, whatever it is. Come on in the chat room. We've got a chat. Leslie's here, Byron's here, another Leslie's here. We got Adam here. We're going to go through everything that is today, everything that is shaping what today will be remembered as. We do this in a couple of different stages. First, we go through the events of today. We talk about all things that happened in history. We try to look for rhythms and patterns. We see if maybe there is something, some clue, something that will give us a little idea of what we can expect in the coming hours of this day. Most of the time, that's for not. But still, on those rare occasions where we find something, it is glorious. So we go through that. We call that Erstwhile on this day. We talk about the events of this particular day. Then we go into the birthdays. We talk about people who celebrated birthdays. And then we go into the passings. We talk about people who died. We talk about people who died. And we decide, do we care? Because, as I like to state, 2 absolutes that we don't agree on much on this show. People don't agree on much anywhere, let alone this show. But we do agree that there are a lot of a-holes out there, and we also agree that everybody dies. Vis-a-vis, a-holes die every day, and that's how we handle these are the people who died, these are the people who died. Do we care segment of the show? How are you? I had a rough night's sleep. I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened. What happened is I ran out of my CBD stuff. I need more of my CBD stuff. And I don't know if it was actually a rough night's sleep because I didn't have my CBD stuff, or if I have mentally come to rely on my CBD stuff. I don't know, whatever it is. But if you need CBD stuff, I need to head up to our good friends at Sacred Oils, 13740. Sacred Oils, 13740 Midway Road in Farmers Branch. Fine sponsor of the show. They helped us out when we needed it. So, we're going to keep them around and keep talking about them. Pugs 20. Pugs 20. Anything you get, CBDs, deltas, THCAs, gummies, edibles, whatever it is that you want to get to do your thing, to just, to find your mojo. You can go to Sacred Oils, 13740 Midway Road in Farmers Branch. And don't forget to tell them 20% off every offer. That's right. Everything you buy, everything you do, just tell them Pugs 20. There you go. Also, tip the show. The show runs on your tips. If that's something that you're capable of doing, that would be a wonderful thing. We love to see people supporting the show with little. I'm your bartender. I'm your whatever. You can do that as well, simply by dropping something in the Venmo or the Cash App. Thank you so much, folks. I appreciate it. And now, with that cleansing breath of release, let's get into what today is. Today is the High Noon Report for the 14th day. Is it the 14th day? I always get confused. I panic. Sometimes I panic because I put this show to, and there have been times, one time in particular, where I had the wrong date. I woke up and I looked at the wrong date for some reason, and I compiled an entire show that was the wrong date. But no, we are certain today is the 14th day of June, year of our Lord 2023. There are 165 days left in the year, and it says here 200 days remaining until the end of the year. So get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, let's go through the history of this day. First segment. Segment 1 we call Erstwhile on this day. This is previously on June the 14th. On this day in 1775, during the American Revolution, the Continental Army is established by the Continental Congress, marking the birth of the United States Armed Forces. Happy birthday, United States military. It's on this day in 1975. On this day in 1775. I'm pretty sure the military existed before 1975. On this day in 1777, the Second Continental Congress passes the Flag Act of 1777, adopting the Stars and Stripes as the flag of this. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag. It's Flag Day. Remember when we were kids in school and they made you learn all those jingoistic songs? It was like, don't kid yourself. That's propaganda. That's brainwashing. That's, Pledge of Allegiance. I don't have a problem with it because it was just something that I did and I don't feel like I'm broke by it. But it is what it is. It is. I mean, I'm a man in my 50s and I think I still know all the words to "You're a grand old flag. You're a high-flying flag." From what? From second grade when I was forced to go with a group of my friends in music class to a bunch of old folks' homes and sing patriotic songs. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. I'm looking up so you know I'm not reading these lyrics. Every heart beats true with the red, white, and blue. And now I am at a loss. I got pretty far into the song. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for something that I hadn't even thought about in like 50 years. Anyway, happy birthday, flag. Happy birthday, Army. On this day in 1789, Mutiny on the Bounty. That's right. Mutiny on the Bounty, Captain Bligh. And I always get Mutiny on the Bounty confused with the Caine Mutiny, and they took place in two completely different eras. Caine Mutiny, World War II, Captain Queeg's strawberries, and then Mutiny on the Bounty, depending on the version you watched. I like Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson's version from the 1980s, but whatever. I didn't know that was a real story. It's a real story. On this day in 1789, mutiny survivors, including Captain William Bligh and 18 others, reached Timor after nearly a 4,600-mile open seas boat journey. On this day in 1900, happy birthday, Hawaii. Hawaii becomes a United States territory. Just sit tight. You're a territory, Hawaii. Just sit tight. It's going to be about 50 years. 50 years, we're going to make you official. We're just going to bang you out as our mistress, as our vacation mistress for about 50 years before we put a ring on you and make you an actual state. Hey, don't feel bad. Puerto Rico's been going through it a long time. A lot longer than you, I think, Hawaii. I think Puerto Rico's been waiting on statehood for quite some time. On this day in 1949, Lieutenant Colonel, let's get this right. Lieutenant Colonel Albert II rides a V-2 rocket to an altitude of 83 miles, thereby becoming the first mammal and the first monkey in space. Yeah, Lieutenant Commander Albert II was a monkey, a rhesus monkey, and he was the first one they put into space. So they basically just had a tin can and they put it on a big pile of dynamite and they shoved a rhesus monkey inside the tin can and they duct taped the top to it and they blued it up. And they sent that monkey all the way up into space. Hey, you got to give the respect to the astronauts, and you got to give extra respect to those brave astronauts who gave their life, because, yeah, there was very little consideration on how they were going to get Lieutenant Colonel Albert II back to Earth. In fact, they didn't even have a parachute. They just blew him up there and then, went, okay. And then, of course, Albert II smashed into the ground and died on impact. Hey, Lieutenant Colonel Albert II died with full military honors, and yeah, he was a brave guy. He did not survive re-entry. He did. That's because it was a tin can, basically. That was on this day in 1949. On this day in 1954, United States President Dwight David Eisenhower signs a bill into law that places the words "under God" into the United States Pledge of Allegiance. This is a really big sticking point among American atheists and people who are like against the whole Christian washing of America, which I get. I like the idea that We remain non-denominational. It's our Christian country. I got a lot of Jewish friends who would disagree. I also know some Muslim friends. So come on, let's just stop it. Let's just say we're a free country where people are allowed to come here and, worship any statue they want. They can, whatever. It's cool. We don't care. But they've the argument that the founding fathers were very religious. Thomas Jefferson was not very religious, people. Have you read the Jefferson Bible? The entire reason that Thomas Jefferson wrote a Bible was because he wasn't very religious, because he thought a lot of it was nonsense. He thought it made no sense. So Thomas Jefferson took the Bible and he basically wrote a version of it. He got rid of all the nonsense. It's just a story now. Now it's a morality tale. Now it's a guidebook. That's what the Jefferson Bible was. So when they say the Thomas Jefferson was a good Christian, first of all, he's a slave owner. I don't know how that's a good Christian, but okay. Thomas Jefferson and all of those founding fathers were not overly Christian. They weren't. They were pushing back, actually, from the puritanical roots of this country. There was a lot of rebellion in those hearts, a lot of non-traditional thought going on in the Continental Congress, but we don't give that any credit today. But, it was on this day in 1954. They added under God. They added it. It wasn't there. It wasn't the original guy went, and then we're going to invoke God. No, the original guy that, we went, that's a really good thing there, that Pledge of Allegiance. That first guy who wrote that, they liked it. They were like, that's good. That's perfect. And it was only years later to appease, a rising political body, the religious right. It was added. It was added to just make people happy. And now it's like, we've always been. No, we really haven't. 1954 is when we started getting all godly. On this day in 2017, United States Republican House Majority Whip Steve Scalise and 3 others are shot and wounded by a terrorist while practicing for the annual congressional baseball game. That was 6 years ago. Man, I remember that. That seemed crazy. I was like, they're playing baseball and some sniper shows up? Yikes. First day with the new lips. Did you guys see that? I completely failed on trying to drink out of a straw. I'm telling you, it was a rough night of sleep last night. All right, that's going to do it. Now let's move on to birthdays. Let's celebrate some people who were born on this day. Let's talk about their contributions, or let's tear them down. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. On this day, born in 1811, Harriet Beecher Stowe. Quick, what'd she write? Do you know? You should know. You should know what Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote. She was a white lady. A lot of people think she's black. A lot of people I think she's white lady. She was an abolitionist. She came from a very prominent family. She, of course, wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was the first realistic depiction of the conditions of which black and local recently freed slaves, the conditions that black people were living in America. Uncle Tom's Cabin. Happy birthday to her, Harriet Beecher Stowe, born on this day. All the way back in 1811. On this day in 1909, the world gave birth to Burl Ives. No idea what Burl Ives was. Singer, I think. I don't know. Here's how I know Burl Ives, because I grew up in the 70s. So I watched all of those Christmas things, those claymation, A Year Without a Santa Claus. And it was always 2 narrators. It was either Fred Astaire, and Fred Astaire took the form of like a puppet postman at the North Pole. And then the other narrator was Burl Ives, and he took the image of a snowman. Remember the snowman who tell you the story of whatever? I don't know. Anyway, Burl Ives, born on this day in 1909. Born on this day in 1928, Ernesto Che Guevara, Argentinian, Cuban activist, politician, physician. Dude was a doctor. Che Guevara, he was a doctor. Dude was a lawyer. Dude was an activist. Dude was a politician. Dude was a revolutionary. Woo! Che Guevara's dance card was full. Born on this day in 1928. Died in 1967. Born on this day in 1931. How about Marla Gibbs? American actress and comedian. She played Florence. Was she Florence? Who was she? She was the maid on the Jeffersons. She was funny. And I think there was something going on between Sherman Hemsley and her. Were they married or something? They had a thing. I think they had a thing. I think that was the thing. Anyway, happy birthday, Marla Gibbs. She was on the Jeffersons. Oh, and also she was on that show that I never watched, 227. Is that, or was it 222? I don't know, whatever it was. It was something room something. I don't know. It was with that Jack Gay girl who was funny. That Jack Gay girl was funny. She was big and loud and over the top, and that's all. What was her name? Jack Gay. She was on game shows. That's how I knew her. I didn't watch the show. She was funny on game shows. Jack A. Harry. That's it. She was famous for like 2 years. How about born on this day in 1961? Boy George. So how old is Boy George? So that'd be like 62. He's like 66. I don't know, 61, 62. Whatever. I don't want to do the math. I told you I didn't sleep well last night. I didn't have my sacred oils, CBD oil. So I'm a little tired. I didn't think Boy George would make it this long. Boy George had some problems in his 30s that were, making us all think, is Boy George going to make it through his 40s? He did. Made it through his 40s, made it through his 50s. Now he's in his 60s. Happy birthday, Boy George. Born on this day in 1961. Umbilical cousins with Boy George. Born on this day also in 1961. How about Sam Perkins, NBA superstar? Number 4 overall pick, Dallas Mavericks. Mavs took him. I don't know, Perkins, what was that? 80, 83, 80, 45, somewhere in there, somewhere in that like little time frame. Sam Perkins was taken number 4 overall by the Dallas Mavericks. I think he played about 5 years or so here. And then he became the much traveled Sam Perkins. Sam Perkins, happy birthday to you. Born on this day in 1961. Born on this day in 1969, Steffi Graf, German tennis player. I'm trying to picture Steffi Graf, like Steffi Graf and Monica Seles. They were like the two killer girls of their era. I don't really make a distinction. Oh, wait a second. Steffi Graf is the one that's with Andre Agassi, right? Aren't they like creating little like tennis superstar clones? Isn't that what their whole point of being a couple? I think it is. It's Steffi Graf and Andre Agassi. I think they're together. Happy birthday, Steffi Graf. Born on this day in 1969. Born on this day in 1978, Diablo Cody. That's right. The pride and joy of the southwest suburbs, Lamont, Illinois' own Diablo Cody. She wrote Juno as a screenplay and became like a big star, and then pretty much has shit the bed ever since. I don't mean to be so cruel to Diablo Cody, but I haven't seen anything that she's done. Well, what did she do? She did a TV show. She did The United States of Terror on Showtime. Yeah, that was good. But nobody liked that. Everybody was like, that show sucks. So nobody watched it, but I liked it. It was good. Toni Collette, she played like 50 different characters. She was crazy. She played a woman with like schizophrenia who had a bunch of different personalities. It was a fun show. Tour de force performance for Toni Collette, but what isn't, right? Toni Collette, she's like always good. What else did Diablo Cody do? She did a movie called Tully a couple of years. I don't know. Whatever. She got really hot really quick. Diablo Cody. She was like, boom, nowhere. Nobody knew who she was. And then suddenly she's the toast of Hollywood. And that was like 10 years ago. I don't know. She hasn't really. What has she done? What has anybody done really? Filmmakers, like, I don't know who the next generation of filmmaker, screenwriter, director, I don't know who that's going to be for me, because I am so much more entertained by what's happening in television. I'm so much more interested in show creators and showrunners than I am just the one-off director anymore. It seems, I don't know. Anyway, happy birthday to you. As I said, the pride of Lamont, Illinois, Diablo Cody. The pride of Bennett Academy, Diablo Cody. All right, that's going to do it for our birthday segment today. Let's do the people who died. I like this. These are the people who've died. These are the people who died. Do we care? Let's go through some of the names of the people who have passed on this particular day. Passing on this day in 1914. No. Oh, this is the wrong guy. Okay, never mind. I don't care. I don't care. 1914, this dude died. Adlai Stevenson I. He was an American lawyer and politician. He was the 23rd vice president of the United States. I thought he was his son. And the son, I guess we'd care, because more modern times politician. I used to drive the Stevenson Expressway all the time. But not this one. Not this guy. This guy was born in 1835. Wait, I don't care about this guy. All right, so there you go. Adlai Stevenson I died on this day in 1914. Dead on this day in 1977, Alan Reed. Alan Reed died on this day in 1977. He's an American actor. It says here the only reason he gets mentioned is he's the original voice of Fred Flintstone. Now that gives me pause. Do we care? The original voice of Fred Flintstone. Well, who's the guy? Who's Fred Flintstone? Like, I've got my Fred Flintstone. I know my voice of Fred Flintstone. I don't know who this guy is. Okay, so should we check him out? Hold on. Alan Reed. Let's see. Alan Reed, Fred Flintstone. And then I'll tell you if this is my Fred Flintstone. Alan Reed, Fred Flintstone. Okay, let's see here. Do we have? Give me an example of Alan Reed. All right, whatever. I guess this is this dude doing a whole bunch of different voices. So let's check this out. Let's see what's going on here. All right, hold on. Booth.
Mr. Booth, the television station.
There you go. All right. We determine if is this the voice of Fred Flintstone that we know? Because that'll determine if we care.
Mr. Booth, the television station just sent these over. They're all about last night's wrestling match, and they've been flooded with phone calls.
Bring back the little old lady and the Boston Strong
Yes,
Girl.
we
Greatest
can!
fight ever.
That's
How about a rematch?
That's my Fred Flintstone.
And book Tennessee Terror and Beast of Boston.
All right. All right, there you go. That is without a doubt our Fred Flintstone, right? That's the guy. Alan Reed, God bless you, sir. Dead on this day in 1977. Dead on this day in 1994, Henry Mancini, American composer and conductor. He was born all the way back in 1924. Henry Mancini did everything. He did everything. He's like, today it's like John Williams. It's like John Williams is like the guy who does. No, before John Williams, there was Henry Mancini, man. Henry Mancini. Every big movie that was ever made between like 1940 and 1980 was Henry Mancini. Do we care? Yeah, we care. Yeah, he was pretty great. Henry Mancini. All right, and there you go. That's going to do it. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Do we care? Sometimes we did. We sure did with Alan Reed, the original voice of Fred Flintstone. We cared with Henry Mancini. Not so much with Adelaide Stevenson the first. Thought he was Adelaide Stevenson the second, but he's not. He's the first. All right, let's get into what's trending today, because that's what we do here on this show. We like to give you all the topics that are... God, it's only 12:22. You guys, we're going to be early on the show again today. The show's going to probably end. I'm looking at what I have here. I don't know. I'll stick around if I can, if there's something for me to do. But man, it's only 23 minutes after 12. Do you know that we are transitioning now into the headlines and the hot topics of the day? Only 23 minutes. Hell, there have been shows that didn't even start until 23 minutes after. So I'm a little concerned about the pace that we're keeping here, but that's okay. We'll survive. Hold on, Mr. Popular. Hold on. No. Sorry. I just got a spam email from somebody wanting something from me. Apparently, my package has been lost with my new credit card in it, and they want my information so that they can track it down. Nope. Not waiting on a package. No, I am not. And I am not expecting a new credit card. So I don't know who you think you're talking to, sir. All right, here's the big story. We hear, as we do the show from beautiful North Texas, high atop the 1%er compound from the Comfort Nest South Studios here in lovely Highland Park. The big concern is weather. That's right, weather. Texas weather. Texas weather is taking the forefront of all of our concerns. Not really. We're being ginned up. We're being totally ginned up. Why? Because it's going to be hot. Why? Because it's June in Texas. And, it gets hot in Texas. Hell, it gets hot in Texas starting in about April. So by the time June rolls around, we shouldn't be shocked that it's going to be in the 100s. They are saying this weekend we should be looking at a heat index of 114 degrees here in North Texas. And because this is so much earlier than normal, no, it's not. I'm tired of this narrative. This is bullshit. I've been reading this all morning. I've watched a whole bunch of these weather ghouls try and freak us out about how bad it's going to be. This is not too early. As a matter of fact, I remember a couple of weeks ago going, why hasn't it been 100 yet? It's usually 100 at least a day or two before we get into the guts of June. And we're in the guts of June. It's going to be hot. It's going to be real hot. Now, why is this news? Well, because a couple of years ago, we had a complete shitting of the bed of our electric power grid. So now anytime any kind of weather phenomena occurs, we here in Texas have to be freaked out to the point of wanting to jump off a cliff with the rest of the lemmings because of what they tell us is going to happen. Guess what happened last summer? Nothing. Last summer was a bitch of a summer. It was hot, man. It was a hot summer last summer. We didn't have any problems. There were no widespread. The entire Texas power grid didn't fail. But look, is the Texas power grid garbage? Yeah, it's garbage. Did they do a whole bunch of things that, other states didn't do because, Texas going Texas? Yeah, they did. And did they make themselves vulnerable to that horrible situation that occurred a couple of winters back? Yeah, they did. And now it's just all political. They're never going to let them forget that. And maybe rightfully so, I suppose. But just because the weather shifts, just because we suddenly get a new band of weather that's going to come through, it doesn't mean that we all need to be living in fear. It doesn't mean that we all need to be down at the Home Depot buying our tiki torches and our pitchforks because civilization as we know it is ending. Here's the story. Texas fragile power grid will be pushed to the brink in coming days as unusually hot weather grips the second largest U.S. state. Nothing about that sentence is true. I don't know that it's fragile. I think that's being a bit dramatic, overly dramatic. Push to the brink in coming days. Push to the brink of what? Where have we established that line to be? You don't know. You're just being hypothetical. You're being stupid. You're being needlessly hyperbolic and hypothetical. That's what you're doing. As unusually hot weather grips it. It's not unusual for it to be 100 degrees on the 15th. It's going to be 15th, 16th, 17th weekend. It's not unusual for it to be 100 degrees in mid-June here in Texas. Stop it. They're just trying to get us all scared. Electricity usage is forecast to break the all-time high by the end of the week. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, warned, with temperatures expected to top 100 degrees in Houston, Dallas, and other Lone Star cities, air conditioning use is expected to soar at 80, whatever. Now they go into all these numbers because they're hoping I'm going to do exactly what I just did, tuned out, not reading the numbers. Because the state capital of Austin issued its first heat advisory of the season on Tuesday and opened cooling centers for residents without air conditioners. In Houston, passengers awaiting flights at George Bush Intercontinental Airport sweltered for a second straight day because the air conditioning system wasn't fully functioning. All right, whatever. There you go. They're bracing us to be... just do normal stuff. Just be responsible with your air conditioning, right? I mean, it doesn't need to be 50 degrees in your house. You make it a reasonable amount. And then just cross your fingers. Texas heat. How about this? Here's another story coming to us here in Texas that's trending locally. Typically, we don't do local stories, but we don't have a lot of really big national stories that are gripping us. So, let's start out with the local stuff. Texas safety inspections. Greg Abbott, Governor Wheels of Steel, he signed a new bill yesterday that would make, I'll read it to you because there's a lot of bullshit Texas laws here, and it looks like he got rid of one of them. Texas drivers won't have to take their vehicle into mechanics for annual safety inspections beginning in 2025 after Governor Abbott signed the bill eliminating the requirements into law on Tuesday. I didn't know that was a law. I didn't know that was a thing. That seems like kind of stupid. However, residents in the state's 17th most populous counties are still required to complete annual emissions inspections, including drivers in Dallas, Collin, Denton, and Tarrant counties. Emissions inspections isn't a new requirement, but it was eliminated. But it wasn't eliminated in the new law. So whatever, right? Isn't that the big problem? Wasn't emissions the big problem because global warming and liberals, right? Okay, so they left that. So now what? I don't know what safety inspections are. I've never done that with I don't think I've ever done that. I might be rolling hot, as the kids say. I don't know what that is. All right, there you go. A couple of Texas stories. How about a Vegas story? A Vegas story that directly challenges a long-held conviction of mine ever since professional sports teams began moving to Las Vegas, and that is, I believe a Las Vegas sports team will never win a championship. Well, I was proven wrong. I was proven wrong in 6 seasons because the expansion Vegas Golden Knights are your 2023, 2022, what season is it? Yeah, the 2022-2023 NHL Stanley Cup champions. Congratulations. Vegas Golden Knights took down the Florida Panthers 9-3. They went out big. They were like, yeah, we're going to ice this. We're going to end this whole thing. No pun intended. We're going to end this whole thing now. We're going to score 9 goals. We're going to score 9 goals in the Stanley Cup clinching game. Two traditional NHL powerhouses, of course, Las Vegas and Florida. Hey, whatever, they did it. In Stanley Cup, they expanded the Stanley Cup, the NHL, they expanded in markets that you were like, what? And, I also say about this, Vegas Knights, they need to say a thank you to hockey fans in Dallas, Texas, because none of that shit would exist if the Dallas hockey fans didn't embrace the Minnesota North Stars when they moved to Dallas and became the Dallas Stars. And within 2 seasons, they won a Stanley Cup. Now, I guess that makes it easy to embrace a new team when it's really good from the get-go. But that was the test. The test back then, the NHL wanted to see if the NHL team could thrive in a non-traditional hockey market. And what that means is the Southern United States. And Dallas was that first city. Dallas was the test market. Dallas became a raging success as far as an NHL town goes. And that's what allowed them to go, let's try Florida. Hell, let's try the desert. So you're welcome, Vegas. Signed every Dallas Stars fan. Every Dallas Stars fan from like the 98 season. Like if you were a Dallas Stars fan in 98, you're the reason that Vegas has a trophy now. So I guess, for whatever that's worth. Here's a follow-up to a story we did yesterday that really got me so angry. Oh my God, this got me so angry. I don't want to make this idiot famous, but it's kind of the point of what's trending. So the name Rose Montoya is trending. Rose Montoya is the lady we talked about. It's the lady we talked about yesterday that got me really angry. She's the trans activist who went to the Rose Garden for the White House Pride celebration. Welcome. It's June. This administration is your ally. We can show all these people that there's nothing to be afraid of, that you are not, that whole thing. They did this, my point is, I don't think this has been an ongoing thing, right? I don't think Ronald Reagan held a pride event on the South. So progress, right? So this Rose Montoya shows up, right? And she's blogging the whole thing. She's vlogging, Instagramming, whatever. Everything is like, look at me. Everything is for clout. So they're there, and then the event ends, and all of these people who were in attendance for the Pride celebration on the South Lawn, they stuck around and they're mingling and they're meeting, and it's nice. And all of a sudden, because of the activities of a woman named Rose Montoya and some others, she started taking her top off, and she's posing for these really trashy, really just a bad look. It's just a bad look. You know what I mean? You're in the White House, okay? You're here in our nation's backyard. And this is supposed to be an event where everybody's on their best behavior to show the world that there is nothing untoward. There's nothing Look, one of the big problems with, people, they don't like the whole trans gay thing. It's not necessarily about the choices of who these people love. It's just about the overt sexualization of everything. So now you have this I'm showing my tits at the White House. It's just so fucking stupid. Such an own goal. Why? Why did you do that? Why did you give all of the people who don't want this to be happening in the first place? Why did you give them any ammunition by acting like an idiot? By acting like someone who we can't take anywhere? That's what you were. You became that person we can't take anywhere because you're an idiot, because you can't be trusted to make the right choice, the proper choice. Idiot. So the White House has banned her forever. She's never allowed back on the grounds of the White House, which is a thing. But that's not the reason Rose Montoya is trending today. Rose Montoya is trending today because she's exploding. She's becoming a superstar. Rose Montoya, a topless trans woman at White House, gained surge in followers. All right, this story's come from Newsweek, so you know it's bullshit. What has happened with Newsweek? Newsweek used to be a legit news organization, and then they went bankrupt, and then some duplicitous son of a bitch came in there and purchased the Newsweek branding, purchased the rights. So now they're still promoted as Newsweek, but it's basically like the Babylon Bee meets the Onion. It is like the worst story. Newsweek. It used to be like Time Magazine and Newsweek. And what was the other one? U.S. News and World Report. Those were like the three. Those were important magazines. Transgender activist Rose Montoya, who has been barred from the White House after going topless during a Pride Month event, has seen her popularity on social media grow. On Saturday afternoon, President Joe Biden welcomed hundreds of guests to a picnic on the South Lawn. It was part of a celebration of Pride Month and the administration's support for the LGBTQ plus community, amid a flurry of anti-LGBTQ plus bills that have been introduced and passed across the country at the state level. Among the attendees was Montoya, a transgendered rights activist who rose to prominence in 2021 for her educational social media content about trans issues. Excuse me. On Monday, Montoya posted a video to her Instagram accounts recapping the White House picnic. Trans rights are human rights, Montoya said in the clip while shaking Biden's hand. Near the end of the video, Montoya was shown walking towards the White House and going topless on the South Lawn as her hands covered her breasts. That is so trashy. You're just such a trashy person. Rose Montoya is asked about Montoya's behavior. A White House spokesperson told Newsweek in a statement, "It was inappropriate and disrespectful for any event at the White House." Yes, it is. Doesn't matter how politically broken you are. You show respect when you're in that. When you are there, you treat that place with the honor it deserves. Well, unless, of course, you're anti-American. Then you want to shit on the floors and piss on the walls and all that kind of stuff. You have no respect for the institutions. It's not about who's sitting in the chair now. It's about who has sat in that chair before. It's about the institution. It's not. So if I went to the White House, I'd be on my best fucking behavior. Why? Because that's a big honor. It is a big honor if you are a proud American. If you're not, then you don't give a shit. The spokesperson said that her actions were not reflective of the event we hosted to celebrate LGBTQ plus families or the other hundreds of guests who were in attendance, and that, quote, individuals in the video will not be invited to future White House events. Montoya has gained thousands of followers since Saturday, according to Social Blade. I don't know what that is. What do they count? Social accounts, I guess. Bringing her count to 793,000 as of Wednesday. The previous week, I don't care. Anyway, of course, she's being celebrated for this lack of just. Nobody's taking the 30,000. I said it yesterday, and it's unfair, but it's the Jackie Robinson effect. You gotta be better. You got to be better than everybody else. You got to be classier. You got to be more sophisticated. You got to be more wanted. Well, why should they have to? They shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. You're absolutely right. They shouldn't have to, but they do, because that's the quickest way to get to where they want to be. That's the quickest, the only way. No, whip your top up, show your boobs. Ugh, good Lord. Anyway, there you go. That's why we know the name Rose Montoya today. She won't be going back to my White House anytime soon. Starbucks is trending. Starbucks is in a bit of a. We're getting two stories here. So Pride Month. That's right. We've been prepared. Remember, we still seem to be okay. I don't know how many houses in your neighborhood have burnt down so far this month. None in my neighborhood. The uprising has not reached us here in Highland Park yet. I don't know, man. I was pretty much told by everybody that this was going to be the end of civilization this month. That, I know I haven't been to Target. I haven't been to Target and I haven't drank Bud Light. Nobody's offered me a Bud Light. I haven't seen a Bud Light. I would drink a Bud. I don't have a problem with Bud Light. I don't care about tranny beer. It's not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal. I'd go to Target if I needed to go to Target. I haven't needed to go to Target in June. What else are we boycotting? There was something else that we're boycotting that I went, oh, you shouldn't boycott that. That sounds stupid. We're boycotting Chick-fil-A, right? We can't do Chick-fil-A. We can't do Bud Light. We can't do... Anyway, Starbucks has found themselves in a pickle this Pride Month. Union members, apparently Starbucks got some unions at some of their places. So some Starbucks union people are saying Starbucks has ordered all of their operators to remove all their Pride decoration. Okay, so I guess Starbucks, I haven't been to a Starbucks either. Make my own coffee. I don't need $4 coffee. I don't need it. It's not something, I can... For like $7, I can get a full tin of coffee and I can make it every morning. And it's just as good because you know why? Because coffee tastes like horse dick. Coffee's terrible. Coffee doesn't taste good. If you want to put sugar and marshmallows and candy and caramel and all that in that, sure, you can make it taste good. Hell, you can make scotch taste good. You can make just about anything taste good if you add enough sugar to it. But I drink black coffee. I drink black coffee because I like that slap of reality in the morning. And if you're just drinking black coffee, you don't need to pay for premium black coffee. You're just looking for the kick in the nuts. That's all it is. So Starbucks union people, they're saying the Starbucks corporate has told everybody to pull back their Pride stuff. And now Starbucks corporate is going, we never said that. What are you talking about? So you got the union going. Fact of the matter is that there are a number of Starbucks operators in this country who have taken down all of their Pride stuff. And if that's just an individual thing because you don't want the trouble, I'm fine with it. I have no problem with a Starbucks operator looking at the climate and going, you know what? I don't need my fucking window broken. All right. So I'm just going to take this off. We're going to get through it. Doesn't mean gays aren't welcome. Starbucks, for crying out loud. Gay mandatory. There is always gay people in a Starbucks. Always. It is like the most progressive bouillabaisse of modern American society you can find. There is just about everybody from every fringe group represented in a Starbucks at any time, all the way down to the homeless man. There's always everyone represented in a Starbucks. So I don't know. So Starbucks corporate is saying that we haven't told anybody to take stuff down, and yet the union's going, they've told people to take stuff down. So I don't know. Are Starbucks franchises, are they individually operated by an independent guy, or are they operated at the corporate level? I guess there's probably a mix of the two, right? Like some Starbucks locations might be corporate locations, while others might be franchises. I don't know. But if I was a friend, let's say I'm a franchise owner and I run the Starbucks in Waxahachie, right? I'm running a Starbucks in Waxahachie and I'm an independent owner. I'm taking the rainbows down. I am. Doesn't mean that I'm not, doesn't mean, read into that. You know what you should read into that? That I don't want to pay $500 for a new front window. That's what you should read into that. Not anything else. If the idiots on the right want to consider that a victory, let them have it. They're morons. They don't know what a true victory is. Just let them have it. Me, I don't want to have to, come down to my shop at 3 a.m. because some idiot threw a brick through my window. Amazon is trending. Why is Amazon trending? What's this about? What is this Amazon story? I don't remember this. We just popped into a news story that I don't remember prepping on. Amazon says AWS is operating normally after outage that left publishers unable to operate websites. I guess there was an Amazon crash or something. Man, we are so vulnerable. I mean, just wipe out the internet. Just imagine what would happen to us as a society if they wiped out the internet for like 3 days. No internet, no nothing. All of a sudden, everything's down. It's not just about entertainment. It's about how we rely on internet connectivity for important information. I was talking about this the other day. I don't have cable TV. I don't have direct TV, and I don't have rabbit ears. So I'm kind of shit out of luck. when it comes to breaking local news. Like the other night when we had tornado warnings going off, I'm like, oh, I should turn on the local news. Took me 45 minutes to find local news that I could access. And even then it was on YouTube. I had to go to YouTube and watch online. And all I could think of is, man, if they took out the internet, I would have absolutely, like, let's say we were attacked. Let's say we were attacked and they took out the internet. I would have no way of knowing that the missiles were coming or that there was an invading army. If the internet was gone and I didn't have my Twitter notifications, I couldn't access news or information. Jesus. So anyway, apparently Amazon went down and people freaked out for a couple of hours, but it seems to be working fine. So there you go. Let's move on. How about America's number one beer? America's number one beer, ladies and gentlemen, is now Modelo. That fine American beer. The number one beer sold in America is now Modelo. Modelo, it took the place of Bud Light. Bud Light's been going through some stuff. They'll be back. It's Bud White. It's Anheuser-Busch. They'll be back like the NFL. Bigger, stronger, more powerful than ever before. Because one of the things that we know about people who get involved in these stupid culture war boycotts, they forget. They totally forget, and they get lured back. Bud Light's going to be on sale, and old Bubba's only going to have, X amount of dollars, and he's going to show up to the party with Bud Light. And then somebody else is going to show up to the party with Bud Light because it was on sale, and now they're drinking Bud Light again. That's all. It's just a little bit of an inconvenience. But Modelo, this is why I wanted to mention Modelo. I don't know anybody who drinks Modelo. I can't tell you the last time I saw a bottle of Modelo. Modelo? I mean, is Modelo Mexican? Isn't that Mexican beer? I thought it was Mexican beer. Corona is the Mexican beer that I see everywhere. I don't see Modelo, but Modelo is now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the number one best-selling beer in all of these here United States of America. Modelo Especial in May took over the top sales spot, reflecting the enduring damage from the Bud Light boycott. I don't know what that means. I don't even know I'm not a big beer drinker guy though, because beer sucks. I mean, beer doesn't taste good. You're programmed and conditioned to believe it tastes good because the whole time you were growing up, every vision of a man that you saw was, God, give me that cold beer. And so you just sort of, put that in your mind that that's like what you want, when in fact, you don't want a cold beer after you're out there doing the lawn work. You know what you want? You want a nice cold Gatorade. What are you, stupid? You want a cold, man, I just want me a cold beer after it. You're programmed. That tastes like garbage. It's like me and coffee. Coffee tastes like garbage, yet I do it because I want the kick in the nuts. Same thing with beer. I know what I'm doing. I'm ginning up Adam Reyna. Adam Reyna is one of these beer fetishists. We're like, stop it. Alcohol is spoiled nutrients. That's what it is. It's spoiled fruit. It's spoiled bread. That's what it is. It's not supposed to taste good. It's supposed to fuck you up. Okay? It's this idea that, alcohol tastes good. And I'm a drinker. I'm not a teetotaler. I like the effects. I like to get buzzed, and I like to, have nice little conversations with people, being social. Beer tastes good. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's like salty, and give a 5-year-old a glass of beer. That's all. That's it. Maybe don't. Maybe I shouldn't be advising people to give a 5-year-old a glass of beer. But you know what I mean? Give somebody with some innocent taste buds a taste of beer, and then get their honest to God, unfiltered response to it. They're going to be like, that's not good, because it's not good. Give that same 5-year-old, a spoonful of Captain Crunch, and they're going to be like, this is good. And then you give like an 80-year-old a spoonful of Captain Crunch. You're like, no, this is good. They're not in agreement with beer. It's not going to be the same thing. Anyway, happy days to Modelo. I've not seen, isn't that a green bottle? It's a green bottle. I don't know. I like fancy drinks. Like I like pina coladas and stuff. Like I'll drink that. But that's like a milkshake with a kick to it. That's alcohol that tastes good. Why? Because they're using all kinds of stuff. They're using all kinds of stuff to kill the awful taste of alcohol. That's what they're doing. Anyway, what else do I like? I like a mimosa. A mimosa is nice. because champagne tastes like trash, but they do something, right? There's like a peachy flavor to it, and it kind of changes it. And now you're like, okay, this is actually kind of nice. Anyway, Modelo. Go drink a Modelo. Modelo is Mexican beer, right? But I always think of Corona as being like the Mexican beer. I don't know. Anheuser-Busch, that's supposed to be German beer, isn't it? Well, I know Anheuser-Busch they're German, but I guess it's American lager. They've created their own lane. All right, moving on. What else do we have here? Look at this. We are an hour into the show, and we are almost out of topics. We're not even an hour into the show. We're 50 minutes into the show. We are almost out of topics. Anne Frank porn. That's right. That's right. That's three words that I just put in a row. Anne Frank and porn. That's what it's being called. It's being called Anne Frank porn. So a number of years ago, there was an update to the historically best-selling and super important book in the history of literature. There was an updating of the Diaries of Anne Frank. And by updating, what I mean is they didn't change, she didn't use words like, I'm a boss bitch. It's not like that. They didn't update it. They updated the presentation of it from a diary form, the way it looked. They turned it into a graphic novel. So they took the text, they took what Anne Frank actually wrote, and they modernized it for a modern audience, with cool graphic art pictures that correlate to the story or the tellings and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't change anything. It is actually what Anne Frank wrote. And because it's now accompanied by fancy comic book style art pictures, Texas and Florida are trying to ban the Diary of Anne Frank because they're calling it pornography. They're calling it pornography. The story of a little girl. This is an incredibly important story for future generations to read. It's important because it puts you in the mind. It takes you out of the 30,000-foot view of war and international and global conflicts, and it puts you in this little hovel, this little closet, this underneath the floorboards where the Frank family was hiding. And it actually personalizes the story. And the only way for people, I think, to truly appreciate history and to truly understand how not to repeat these tragic things is to connect personally with somebody there. Don't look at, spend your time reading the Hague reports on the war crimes. No. It's shit like what this little girl wrote all the way back then in the moment that are important. And of course, stupid people in Florida and in Texas are calling it porn now because, as was always in the Anne Frank diary, she discusses some things about being a pubescent young lady. Apparently you can't have that. Can't be hiding from the Nazis and going through puberty, apparently. That is where they draw the line in Florida and Texas. Critics of the book say they are objecting to the small handful of passages in which Anne herself describes matters. In one, Anne discusses a time that she asked a female friend if they could show each other their breasts, but was rebuffed. Anne then quoted as saying in her diary, "If only I had a girlfriend," she mused. And that's in the diary. That's Anne Frank speaking in the diary. In another, Anne Frank describes clinical details of her own vagina, also in her diary. I remember hearing stories about this years and years ago. These passages are Anne's own writing and were part of her actual diary. Fulman and Polanski reproduce them in the book and show a full-page illustration showing her wandering through a garden of female nude statues in the Greco-Roman tradition. So that's it. It's just, I don't know. Are people turning on Anne Frank in Florida and Texas? She's a 13-year-old girl. She has questions, right? That's kind of the beauty of the story, that irregardless, if that's a word, doesn't matter what she was actually going through in the moment with the Nazis knocking on the doors and searching house to house and all the stuff that she had experienced. None of that really mattered because she was still just a 13-year-old girl going through what a third. That's why that diary was such an important historical find. My God, I could not imagine being a grown person and looking at the story of Anne Frank and saying, I don't want young people to know that story. Your fucking young people are going to suck. They're going to be pussies. They're going to give up. Anne Frank was a warrior. That is a story of inspiration that should never be forgotten. But in Texas and Florida, they're calling it porn because she's a 13-year-old girl with questions. Greedflation. Greedflation. I like this word. I've never heard this word before. Greedflation is trending. Greedflation is, well, they've put a word on something that I've been talking about for years now, which is the thing that really burns me about the inflation situation. What have I always said? I've always used as sort of a very reductive example to make this point, the story of the Dollar Tree stores, because they sold everything for $1 and then, prices went up 11%. So in order to keep pace, they should have raised their prices to $1.11. And we'd have all been okay with that because that's where inflation was at the time. But they didn't do that. They raised their prices to $1.25, giving themselves an extra 14% profit. Why? Because they knew they could get away with it, because the rest of us had all been conditioned by the media over the past few months to accept that inflation is coming. That's greedflation. And even though the rest of us struggle for milk and eggs and gas and all that stuff, they are triumphantly in these conference calls with corporate holders and all this stuff, bragging about how they are making more money than ever, despite the interest rates, despite the Fed's taking action against inflation. They are still. So that's greedflation. That's basically what they're talking about. And now it's being called out because it's happening and I use that example. But they're saying everybody's doing it. Walmart is actually fighting back. Walmart is at the center of this story. Walmart is announcing that they are going to use their significant buying power, Walmart's ability to buy in bulk, to punish those distributors of packaged food that they sell in Walmart stores, who they believe have been engaging in greedflation. So you know what? I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about Walmart, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good that Walmart is saying, yeah, if we determine that you ConAgra Foods or whatever, any of you people who have been taking advantage of inflation, any of you people who have been engaging in what's being called now greedflation, we at Walmart will not. We're looking for a new person. We're looking for a new, person to sell macaroni and cheese in Walmart stores. So that's good. Greedflation. That's why greedflation is trending. Speaking of greedflation, Jay Monahan. Remember Jay Monahan? We learned about him last week. Jay Monahan is the commissioner of the PGA. He's the guy who, man, I still remember Jay Monahan, commissioner of the PGA. I remember him. We saw the videos recently, but I remember when they happened. I remember him standing on that stage with all those 9/11 families. I remember him talking about how we can't forget these people and what they've been through. Jay Monahan, PGA, hero to the 9/11 families. No way was he ever going to do business with them Saudis. Not. How could he face these 9/11 families standing behind him? That was basically his whole spiel. And that's what he used for the first year against Live Golf. And then, of course, he just went, how much are you paying me? Okay. Because, people who golf don't have principles. That's one of my rules in life. If you're a golfer, you don't have principles. You guys cheat all the time. Then, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But it's just something that I believe. People who golf do not have principles. They're unprincipled people. So Jay Monahan, he totally sold out the 9/11 families when the Saudis wrote him a big check. And he's disappeared since then. Boy, did he take a beating. He took a serious beating in the press, and rightfully so, because he's a complete piece of crap. Well, guess where he is now? Well, he's been hospitalized because he is suffering a significant medical event. Now, I don't know if he's hiding, I don't know if he booked it. He's like, I'm going to go lay low for a couple of months. Maybe people will forget. Or I don't know if all of the attacks that he's been taking caused him to have a heart attack or something. I don't know. PGA Tour Commissioner is recovering from significant medical situation at an extremely tense moment for golf. Jay Monahan informed the tour that he would be absent from day-to-day operations for the next few weeks after announcing the tour's blockbuster combination with rival Saudi-backed Live Golf. Let's see here. Jay Monahan is recuperating from a medical situation and will be. He's okay. So now that I read this, here's what it's starting to look like. He's fine. He's fine. He's issuing these statements himself. He's laying low. He's a coward because, of course, he's a coward. He's Jay Monahan. He's in charge of the PGA. He is a coward. He is a feckless. He is a lion sack of unprincipled garbage. Jay Monahan, PGA. Never forget. I'll never forget Jay Monahan. How he. All right, there you go. I mean, it's been 22 years. Fuck 9/11, right? It's been 22 years. Well, can't those people get over it? Never forget. Never forget. Still, maybe you still got one of them stickers somewhere in the garage. You put it up in the garage like 20 years ago. Because I'm never going to forget. Yeah, okay. All right, we forgot. We got over it. We don't care. When we make those promises to those families, that means, it's going to be a good 100 years of us having to, make sure that the families and the kids and all that they, that we appreciate the sacrifice on that day because, but for the grace of God, could have been any one of us. But no, 22 years is pretty much all it takes. 22 years and then it's like, yeah, whatever, get over it. Netflix is trending. Why is Netflix trending? Netflix is trending because they're opening up a bunch of pop-up restaurants. Netflix restaurants. Apparently, one of the big movers on Netflix are their cooking shows. I don't really watch cooking shows on Netflix. Maybe I should. I don't know. What do they got? What do they got? They got anything good? Iron Chef? What is that? Is that on Netflix? I don't know. Whatever. They got a bunch of cooking shows and they're popular. So Netflix is now going to do a thing where in different cities, they're going to do a pop-up location for like a couple of days at a time. And they're going to bring in these fancy chefs that they got on these shows. And they're just going to do one-off surprise restaurant things, pop-ups. There you go. Netflix. That's why it's trending. The Presleys are trending. And by the Presleys, I mean Riley Keough. Riley Keough is the granddaughter of Elvis Presley. All right, so here's the Presley pecking order, right? You got Elvis, man. You got Elvis. He's at the top, and Elvis is gone. Elvis was married to Priscilla, but they broke up, so she's an ex-wife. So you got Priscilla now. She was married to Elvis, but who is the direct descendant of Elvis? That'd be Lisa Marie. My baby, Lisa Marie. So Lisa Marie, like when it was Lisa Marie and Priscilla at the top the last couple of years before Lisa Marie died, Lisa Marie and Priscilla were kind of like in charge of Graceland. They were in charge of Elvis. Elvis makes like $100 million a year still. Okay, just know that. Just know that the brand Elvis Presley still makes ridiculous amounts of money. And the Presley family owns it. And by Presley family, that meant Lisa Marie Presley and Priscilla. All right, so Lisa Marie Presley drops dead. She dropped dead a couple of months ago. And she is Priscilla is the ex-wife of Elvis. So she has some say so. But the real grand poobah of everything Elvis, the person in charge, the boss at the tip of the spear was Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis, the direct blood daughter of Elvis. Priscilla's not even blood. Priscilla's just some chick he married. But Lisa Marie was the daughter. So now Lisa Marie's gone. And over the past couple of weeks, Priscilla has sort of slid herself back into the Lisa Marie role, right? So Lisa Marie is gone, and Priscilla's like, okay, I'm just going to slide back in and be in charge of this $100 million a year Elvis brand. But granddaughter actress Riley Keough, who is the daughter of Lisa Marie, is like, no, Grandma, you better step aside because I am Elvis's granddaughter. I am next in line. It goes Elvis's child, Elvis's child's child. It doesn't go Elvis's first ex-wife. That's not how it goes. So that's been kind of a thing that's been going on. Priscilla, who wasn't looking for any big, because this would have been, Entertainment Tonight, TMZ. This would have been a big, family drama trial. Priscilla doesn't want that. So Priscilla was like, all right, I'll step aside. We won't make this a big, this is Grandma. This is Grandma Priscilla Presley. She's like, all right, I won't make, and she's talking to her granddaughter, 32-year-old actress Riley Keough, who's delightful, by the way. I really enjoy Riley Keough. And every time I see her, I go, man, that's Elvis's granddaughter. Look at her. She kind of looks like Elvis. She really does. She's kind of, I saw there was a picture of her doing all these Elvis poses. And there's a resemblance. Anyway, that Lisa Marie, there was a resemblance. Lisa Marie looked just like Elvis. Anyway, So Priscilla, grandma's like, all right, I'm gonna step away for like $50 million. Like Priscilla. Okay, so here's the end result. Riley Keough, Elvis Presley's granddaughter, is now the grand boobah in charge of all things Graceland. So if I ever want to be reinstated on good terms, I've been banned for life from Graceland. If I ever want to be reinstated, I'm gonna have to go in front of Riley Keough. I'm gonna have to be like, come on, let me back in. I love this place. Not true. I don't actually love the place. I don't even think I'd go back, but I would like to know if I could be allowed back into Graceland after being banned from there in 1995. So you got Riley Keough, she's in charge, but then there's okay, so they broke it into ninths. Like there are 9 different slivers of the Elvis pie. Riley Keough controls the bulk of them, right? But Priscilla controls like 1/9 for herself, but then Priscilla also controls, and I understand this, she controls 1/9 for her son. Apparently Priscilla Presley has another son, not even remotely connected to Elvis in any way, shape, or form. Just like Priscilla got into a relationship after she divorced Elvis and had a kid with that dude. And now that kid gets 1/9 because his mom was briefly married to Elvis Presley. Whatever. I don't know. It's big money, though. There you have it. The Presleys. They have settled their differences, and they seem to be. Although I don't know. Like, does Riley Keough not have a good relationship with Grandma Priscilla Presley? I don't know. Maybe that's rough. Who knows? A lot of Elvis money to be divvied up over the years, though. So I'm sure they should figure out a way to work out their problems. Rust, the film Rust, is trending. Remember Rust? That's the Alec Baldwin movie where he accidentally killed somebody. Elena Hutchins, a lovely young assistant director. Alec Baldwin was handed a gun on the set of a cowboy western movie. He fired the prop gun, and the prop gun had a live bullet in it. It shot 2 people. It killed 1 person. Oh, it was a big thing, especially if you hate Alec Baldwin, then he was a murderer. And if you were a normal person, you were like, wow, that seems like a really bad accident. Somebody's to blame for this, but I'm pretty fucking sure it ain't the actor. All right? That was my take the whole time. So what are you saying? Alec Baldwin went, today I'm gonna get away with murdering somebody. Is that what you think happened? You're stupid. So it was always a low budget film. There was probably some corners cut. There are probably some, rules and regulations that, you have to abide by if you want to, engage in this kind of filmmaking. And I'm sure that they cut some corners. Anyway, why is Rust trending now? Well, because there's a whole new story coming out about what exactly happened. And apparently this little she's the armorer. She's the girl who's in charge of the guns, who's in charge of making sure that there are no bullets in the guns, who makes sure that the right actor has the same gun that they had in the last. She's that person. She's in charge of the guns. And I don't know if you've been following this story, but she looks like she's got an interesting backstory. Let's just leave it at that. Let's just say I looked at her and I went, I would like to read her Wikipedia page. I want to know where she grew up. I want to know how she grew up. I want to know what led her to. She looks like she's lived an interesting life, is all I'm saying. Go pull pictures of it if you want. I'm just saying, when I saw her, I went, oh, that's interesting. So now the story comes that apparently she's a drunk. Apparently, the armorer on the set of Rust is an alcoholic, is a drunk. She does the weed. She smokes the weed. And the news story is that apparently on the day of this tragedy, she was hungover and she had been seen the night before smoking on a marijuana cigarette. So, she obviously showed up the next day and I don't know. Here's what I do know. After looking at her. Okay. And I do this with everybody. If I show me your picture on your Facebook page, I'll make an entire backstory for you. So looking at her, what do I think she does on a movie set when they're all like living in barracks and hanging out or whatever? What do I think she does at 7:00 when they're not doing that? They're sitting around, they're smoking weed, and they're drinking beer. That's what they do. That's what people do. So, you tell me she gets shit-faced every night and shows up to work a little hungover. I'm guessing, yes, she probably was hungover every day. Could that be the reason that she was maybe a little bit uncareful? Is uncareful a word? The reason she was careless, possibly, but I don't think it's like on this occasion she was hungover. I think she probably hungover a lot. I'm thinking that if you know what I mean? People go into work hungover a lot because they have a problem with it. They can't not drink at night. So they're always hungover. That's their normal. The armorer on the set of the movie Rust likely was hungover when she loaded a prop gun used by actor Alec Baldwin that fired a live round of ammunition during rehearsal. Witnesses told investigators that Hannah Gutierrez Reed was drinking heavily and smoking marijuana in the evenings during the shoot of Rust. Yeah, that's what all people on a movie set do. Every single one of them. Well, every single one of them not named Alec Baldwin, who probably walks off the set, gets in a helicopter, is immediately flown to the Four Seasons Albuquerque, but everybody else, they're stuck in this set, sleeping in sleeping bags and shooting at rattlesnakes. It's not fun. Of course they're getting drunk. The artistic lifestyle is one of inebriation. I have to tell you, most people who are into the arts, who are creatives and all that, they're always drunk. They're always drunk or always high. Gutierrez Reed will plead not guilty to 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the October 21st shooting. An attorney for her has said that. Anyway, do I think she needs to go to jail? No. This was an accident, a tragic accident. Are you trying to make me believe that somebody went, let's see if we can kill somebody on this set today? Is that really what you no? Okay, so it was an accident. Accidents happen. Somebody was careless. Somebody needs to be held accountable for that. But do we hold them accountable to the extent of someone who just walked up and killed somebody in the street with a gun? No, it was an accident. You have to. Oh, but what about the family? Well, the family shouldn't get misguided justice. Like this, the family shouldn't get any kind of. The family knows that this woman, this armorer, didn't do it intentionally. So why would they be like, make the person who didn't do it on purpose pay? That makes no sense. It makes no intellectual sense. This is why these things are so complicated and so troubling. Because there really is, who do you blame? It was a mistake. It was a careless mistake. Okay, so let's blame the person who made the mistake. But to what degree do we blame? Cut off their heads for a mistake. There was no intent here. Nobody wanted this woman to be dead. It wasn't pre-motivated. There was nothing. I want to see the movie, though. I do want to see the movie. I wonder, I've been going back and forth. Here's what I do know. Everybody should see this movie. When this movie comes out if it's a pay-per-view thing and it costs $4.99, just pay to see the movie. Why? 1, you can say you saw it because it's, aren't you kind of interested? But 2, remember, part of the deal with her family was that they were brought in as back-end producers, which means that the little boy of the dead woman is going to get all kinds of money if people see this film. If this kid's life could be taken care of, his college, all of that stuff could be taken care of if this movie pops. So I want to see the movie pop for that reason, because the only way that anything even remotely okay comes out of this is if the family of the woman who was shot and killed is somehow made whole. I mean, you can't be made whole emotionally and spiritually. The boy's going to grow up without his mother. But what I'm saying is, let's make the movie a hit, because that's the only way. It doesn't even have to be good. You don't be like, this is a stupid movie. It looks like a stupid movie. I hate Westerns. So I don't even want to watch, but I am interested. I'm intrigued. All right, that's Rust. That's why Rust is trending. How about Nikola Jokic? Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. The Joker. He's trending. He's trending because of this. Here, I don't know if you saw this. This was kind of cute. It's so cute when the 7-foot Eastern European guy, who if he didn't have a perimeter shot, he'd probably be fighting on the front lines somewhere right now. He's so cute. No, he is. I like him, though. Jokic seems great. This was him. He was at his presser after the Denver Nuggets won their first NBA title. And somebody asked him. Now, he's an Eastern European guy, right? Where's he from? Belgrade. I don't even know where he's from. Whatever. He's from someplace. He's someplace over there. And he won the NBA title, and he wants to go home. I mean, I guess Americans are like, why would he want to go home? He's a celebrity in Denver. Because it's not his home. because he wants to go home. He wants to go where his people are, and he can be like, look at me, I won the NBA title. So he wants to go home. But this reporter is informing him that he's gonna have to stick around Denver for a while because they're gonna have a parade, and he needs to be at the parade. And his reaction here is just so incredible. He's like me with parades. He does not want to be involved. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that. So he was told that the parade was happening on Thursday. And this was what, Monday night? So he was told the parade is happening on Thursday. He turns, when is the I gotta stay for the parade. When is the parade? And then you hear someone go, Thursday. And he goes, no. And then he does this whole thing. I need to go home. Like he just wants to go home. One more time. Oh, wait, it's not sharing. I'm sorry. That's why. I was having a problem with it. So here we go. Sorry. There you go, folks. Here it is. When is parade?
Thursday.
He's like, no, I gotta go home. He didn't want to do a stupid parade.
I mean, we succeed in our jobs, and we won it. We won the whole thing. It's a amazing feeling. But like I said before, it's not everything on the wall, you know.
It's not everything. He wants to go home. Enough with the parade. That's funny. That is refreshing. That is refreshingly honest. He didn't want to go to no parade. He wants to go home. He wants to take a shower. He wants to get on a private jet, and he wants to be in wherever, Minsk, by the morning. I don't know. That's funny though. There he is. He doesn't want to go to the parade. When is parade? No, I got to go home. He's the best. All right. Hey, guys, that's it. Look at us. It's 20 minutes after. This has been an hour and 15-minute show today. I wasn't even planning on it being a shortened show, but I got nothing else. Let me run through. I'll spend a little bit of time. We'll free ball it on some topics that are trending. Let's see. We'll run through them. Beal is trending number one. That's in the NBA thread, so I'm guessing it's Bradley Beal. Don't know anything about it. Moving on. Strider is trending. That's a Major League Baseball thing. Don't know anything about it. Moving on. Flag Day is trending. It's Flag Day. You're a grand old flag. You're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Here's my favorite part. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. Do, 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 do. I don't know. That's it. That's as far as I go. Happy Flag Day. There you go. There's my tribute to Flag Day. Washington Wizards are trending. Modelo is trending. We know why Modelo is trending. It's the number one beer in the world. The Unicorn is trending. Porzingis. Why is he trending? I don't know. Probably being traded again. Who knows? What else do we have? Miguel Cabrera, Southern Baptists are trending. Southern Baptists has been trending all morning. Is like their annual convention or something? Is that what's happening? And the U.S. Army. All right. As always, there is absolutely nothing worth mentioning trending on Twitter. God, it's the worst. And it is really early on in this show. A couple of years ago when we started doing this every Monday through Friday, I used to rely on Twitter trends. Twitter trends were good. And then, I don't know, like in the last year, they've just gotten dumber and dumber and more targeted, more partisan, just less interesting, just more like, ugh. And now comes word, Twitter. So Twitter, you got to pay now for a blue check. No, not going to do that. I'm not going to suddenly just pay for a blue. So what Twitter is doing to those of us who refuse to pay for the blue check, which is ultimately going to force me off Twitter. I'm looking to be grabbed by another social media platform. I'm looking for that because Twitter, I'm not long for Twitter. I refuse to pay for the blue check. So me and a whole bunch of my standouts. I have so much respect for you. If I see you on Twitter and you don't have the blue check mark, I used to have super respect for people who could have, when the blue check mark meant that you are authenticated, that you were verified. I used to have respect for people who could have had a blue check but didn't. Like, I always thought that's the coolest thing. Like, that dude should totally have a blue check. Why don't you have a blue check? And he's like, I don't want a fucking blue check. I love that. That was the height of being cool. Being able to have a blue check and not wanting it, rejecting it. Now everybody can have a blue check. So there is no verification. We don't know, any idiot can now be like, look at me, believe what I say because I got a blue check. Well, that's not how it is anymore. That used to be the purpose of the blue check. Somebody with a blue check says something, you could at least rely on the fact that this is who they say they are. So if they have some expertise in the field, you can draw those correlations. So Twitter now lets anybody be a blue check, and that's fine. That's fine. It's incredibly dorky, but whatever. If you're paying, I don't know why you're paying, but whatever. But here's what they're doing now. So, initially I was like, you're a dork if you're paying Elon Musk $8 now to have your little blue thing. What is this, an ego stroke for you? Stop it. You're not important. You're not a blue check the way celebrities used to be. You're just paying for it and everybody knows it. But whatever. But Twitter is starting to do things to us that don't have the blue check that I'm really starting to get pissed off by. Like, for instance, when there was before on Twitter, if somebody wrote a tweet in a foreign language, there was a translate option. There was a little button you could click on it and it would immediately translate it into English. That's gone. That's gone. If you don't subscribe to Twitter Blue, you don't get that, which is fine because I didn't use it all the time, but it was a nice little thing. What's the other thing? No one's ever going to see your tweets. Your tweets are going to be buried. Nobody cares about your tweets if you're not paying for the blue. I've noticed that on replies, I've been tracking this for about a month now. People who are paying for the blue check are getting far more interaction on Twitter than people who don't pay for the blue check. And now comes word that Twitter is going to begin limiting non-paid blue checks ability to DM. Which honestly would be fine because they say you're only going to be able to DM a couple of times a day, which is absolutely fine by me because I don't like the whole DMing thing. But that is bullshit. That is some real. So step by step, they are starting to put the screws to those of us who refuse to pay the $8. Now, I don't know that I am going to completely leave Twitter. I mean, I may keep my thing up and every now and again I'll post something. But if this continues, there's no way. There's no way that I have any interest in being a part of principles. There you go. It doesn't matter how much fun Twitter is for me. I will move on because it is now violating a principle of mine, which is this is supposed to be free. I'm being inundated with advertising. Why do you now also want my credit card number? I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? What else is happening? Let's go to Google Trends. Let's see what's happening on Google Trends. Let's just run through those. Because Google Trends are fun. We ran out of show today. I apologize. Google Trends are fun because they take into account the entire world. So like sometimes you get like really weird things trending that you've never heard of. And then suddenly you start reading a story from a newspaper in like Southeast Asia. And you're like, oh, I didn't know this was going on. All right, let's see what's trending now. Let's see what the top 100 trends are in the world. Should we do real-time searches? Yeah, let's do real-time searches. Number 1, there is a tornado that has touched down in the last, okay, this is like within the last 12 hours. Tornado, York County, National Weather Service. Confirmed tornado touches down in York County. No idea where York County is. Trending number 2, a story we just talked about. Trending number 2 here on Google Trends. Riley Keough, Lisa Marie Presley, Priscilla Presley. Riley Keough to pay Priscilla Presley to end family trust dispute. That's what we were talking about. It's going to give her like $50 million and Priscilla's going to go away. We got another tornado, trending number 3, tornado in Alabama. How exciting for us. Federal Reserve System. Dwayne Wade. Why is Dwayne Wade trending? Dwayne Wade is trending with Gabriel Union. Dwayne Wade explains why he and Gabriel Union split their finances 50-50. Gabriel Union hasn't made one lick of what Dwayne Wade has made. So yeah, why are you splitting it 50-50? Gabrielle Union is now most famous for being your wife. She was famous like a couple of years ago, maybe, and she wasn't even famous. She was just like, let's see here. The Dallas Wings, WNBA odds predictions, best bet for Sparks. What are the Wings? What is the WNBA? Is that Dallas's WNBA team? Wow, I am just now hearing of the Dallas Wings. Nobody cares. But, some people care, and that's fine. You go to those games. Just don't act like there's something wrong with me because I can't get into WNBA basketball. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just used to a higher level of basketball. That's all. That's all. Jeff Bezos is trending because he's vacationing. He's vacationing with his gal pal, Lauren Sanchez. Are they married? Did they get married? I don't know. They're on their super yacht in Italy. Let's see. I want to hate on Bezos, but it's just like I don't have the energy to hate on Bezos. Okay, so Bradley Beal, here we go. This is why Bradley Beal is trending. He's demanding a trade. And the Wizards say that they'll work with him on a trade. Yeah, there's nothing good here. Southern Baptist Convention, Major League Baseball. Starbucks ordered to pay $25.6 million to a manager who says she was fired for being white. Okay. Here we go. We found us a story. This comes to us from CNN. It was just posted within the last hour. Starbucks ordered to pay $25.6 million to a manager who says she was fired for being white. Man, that is a payday just for being white. Good Lord. Let's see how this played out. A jury on Monday found in favor of former Starbucks regional director Shannon Phillips, who sued the company for wrongful firing, claiming that she was terminated for being white. Phillips, who worked for Starbucks for about 13 years and managed a region of stores in the area, was fired after the, quote, arrest of two black men at a Philadelphia Starbucks in April of 2018. The New Jersey jury returned a verdict of $25.6 million, including $25 million for punitive damages. Ooh, that's a big punitive award. 25.6. So that means it was only $600,000 for actual compensatory damages. And then $25 million. She ain't going to get this. She's never going to get this. This is going to be tied up for years. She's going to be, you know what she's going to be able to do? She's going to have this judgment against Starbucks, and she's going to be able to like take loans out on it because they will pay eventually, but probably won't be this full nut. They won't pay her for 10 years and then they'll negotiate like a one-time $5 million exit. That's how this stuff wins. This is how this stuff plays out. Don't ever get fooled by she won $50 million in a lawsuit. No, she didn't. No, that's let's wait till we see. Starbucks said it is disappointed in the decision and is evaluating its next steps. This week's verdict is the latest development in an incident that has sparked protest and out. What is the incident? Phillips, who worked for Starbucks for 13 years and managed a region of stores in the area, was fired after the arrest of two black men at a Philadelphia Starbucks in 2018. Okay, why was she fired? Because two black guys got arrested at a Starbucks. But did she go on like social media and be like, this is why we don't let brothers in Starbucks? I mean, did she do that? Because, that would be a reason. Starbucks says it is disappointed in the decision. In a lawsuit first filed in 2019, Phillips said the company discriminated against her because of her race when she was let go. The 2019 complaint said that following the arrests, so this is the Philadelphia situation. In 2019, following the arrests, Starbucks took steps to punish white employees who had not been involved in the arrests, but who worked in and around the city of Philadelphia in an effort to convince the community that it had properly responded to the incident. Oh, I get it. Okay, so I actually remember this story. These were two just regular black dudes who were treated like they were homeless gangbangers, and they were thrown out of a Starbucks, and the police got involved and it became a whole big thing. And it was the manager of the Starbucks who seemed to have instigated the whole situation. So it became a big story. Became like a thing, a viral video. Look at these two innocent men and how they're being treated. It became one of those things. So we all move on from that. Like a day later, we forget about that viral video. But there, boots on the ground in Philadelphia, in that community, they didn't get over it. That was still happening. So Starbucks had to do some splaining to the local reverend, who's out there in front of the Starbucks with his congregation, demanding action, all that kind of stuff. So Starbucks had to do something. And what it appears they did was they just started firing white people, like firing white people who were involved in the regional management of that particular Starbucks. And if that's the case, then you know what? Good for her. She didn't do anything wrong. She just had a job at Starbucks and they fired her because, they needed it to look good. They needed the old right reverend to see that they were lopping the heads off of some white people. And if that's the case, and that is what the jury found, that's worth about $26.5 million. The reason for termination, according to the complaint, was that the situation is not recoverable. The complaint argued that so the reason for her termination, the reason that she was given for why she was fired as a regional manager here in the Philadelphia area, the reason that Starbucks gave her for her termination was a quote from them: "The situation is not recoverable." That's all they said. You're being fired because the situation concerning that particular Starbucks is not recoverable. That's why you're being fired. And a jury interpreted that to mean because she was white. And honestly, seems like it. Seems absolutely like that was the case. So you know what, Starbucks? There you go. You cut her that check. I mean, if there was no reason for her to be fired other than there was an embarrassing situation that caused some tensions between, the races there in that particular area of Philadelphia, and they decided to make good on that by just lopping the heads off a bunch of people who had worked for them because they were white, because they needed white skin, then yeah, can't do that. Can't do that. Well, but they've done it the other way. Sure they haven't. And, I don't think anybody's saying that the way black people had been excluded from, work and employment over the years. Nobody's saying that's right. We're saying that's something we acknowledge now, we're working on. But you also just can't fire white people. You just can't do it. We're watching it. We're watching. $26 million, man. I bet you that when she was fired, she was like, "What? Are you out of your mind?" And this is only like 5 years ago. So she's still young, and now she's worth $25 million. So I imagine that was like the worst day of her life. But now it's like, Jesus, that was the best thing that ever happened to you. The best thing that ever happened to you was that Starbucks shit the bed in their response to this embarrassing situation that occurred at one of their Philadelphia stores. That is the best thing. Although in the moment, it seemed like the worst thing because your career was over and you'd put 13 years in. But now, best thing that's ever happened to her. Isn't life funny? Isn't life funny? All right, let's see what else. Again, we are out of show, and I'm just going through the trends. I'm just ripping and reading, as they used to say. A lot of college football talk going on here. Nah, there's nothing. They're in the Call of Duty. My kid. So this is interesting. I can mention this. My kid left his I don't even know what it's called. It's a helmet. It's a helmet that takes you to a different world, like VR. I don't know what it is. Some kind of like helmet. You put the helmet on, you hit a button, and all of a sudden, like you're in this like totally different world. VR. He left his virtual reality gear here over the weekend. And I don't know, he lives in that thing, and why wouldn't he? Well, okay. So he lives in that thing, and I've always just looked at him like, and he's like, "Dad, you ought to come try it." I'm like, "Nah, that's all right. I don't know what to expect." So he left it here, and he went home, and I'm staring at it. I was staring at it last night, and I'm like, "All right, let me try this." So last night I put the VR helmet on. It took me a little time to figure out, the buttons and all that kind of stuff. Holy crap. I will never, I will never say to a kid, a teenager of this generation, I will never say to them again, why don't you just go outside and play? Why the fuck would they ever want to go outside again? I'm like, now I know I'm late to the party here. I've had a few little experiences with what VR looks like at amusement parks and stuff, but I've never been in one of these Oculus helmets where you're just like, you create your boundary and all this. Oh my God, it was so cool. It was so incredible. I'm standing in my bedroom. Now, I know I sound like an idiot because I'm just doing it now for the first time. I'm standing in my bedroom. There's clothes all over and the dog is laying at my feet, but I've got this helmet on that has placed me on what appears to be the 100th floor of a luxury penthouse New York City apartment. I'm standing there and I'm like, man, this place is cool. And I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing the ocean. And then I played a game with lightsabers and I'm getting really good at the lightsaber game. And the reason I'm telling you this is because my son has absolutely no idea that I have now figured out how to play the lightsaber game. So when he comes over, I'm going to be like, I'm going to hustle him. I'm going to hustle him a little bit. I'll tell you this. So there's different levels. There's like practice and then there's like easy. I know you guys know I'm the idiot. I recognize this. I'm new to this. You people are all probably real familiar with it. But there's like different, as you make your way through the game, you go from like easy to hard to like expert. You guys, after 2 days, I'm an expert already. I am at expert level with the lightsaber game. And I don't even know what the game's called. But I'm in the helmet and I've got these two lightsabers, like Star Wars, and I've got these two lightsabers in my hands. Now, what do I actually have in my hands? I have the little controllers. But in the helmet, they look like lightsabers. Really, they're just little controllers that I'm holding. But they look like lightsabers. And then apparently they throw like boxes at you. TVs, they look like TV sets. And you gotta hit them with the lightsabers as they're coming at. I love it. I don't know. It's a good game. It's a stupid game, and I'm already tired of it. I've already gotten up to expert level where they come really fast and you're just like. By the way, let me tell you, the dog. Where's the dog? Oh, there you are, baby. So the dog sits here while I do these streams every day, and she just looks at me. And she has no idea what's going on here. She doesn't know the technology. She doesn't know that I'm talking to you people. She doesn't know that we're hanging out and we're discussing current events. All she does is she sees me, her human, sitting in this chair, just making noise, just going, bark, bark. I mean, it's the equivalent to when I walk in on her and she's just looking out the window, just barking at nothing, just bark, bark. Like that's what she thinks I'm doing. Basically, she knows I'm not talking to her, right? But it seems like anyway. So she's already kind of processing this. Me inside the VR helmet was a whole new thing for her. Because I'm inside this helmet having a lightsaber battle, but to her eyes, I'm just standing in the middle of my bedroom waving my arms around like a fool, right? So she doesn't. So I'm fighting these lightsabers, and I know she's somewhere at my feet, but I can't see her because I've got the helmet on. So when I look at my feet, I see, a giant fire pit underneath me, and I'm balancing on a balance beam, right? So I don't see her down there. But then in the middle of it, they start coming really quick, and I'm like, with the lightsabers, they're coming at me, and I'm trying to do it. All of a sudden, she jumps up on me from the ground. She jumps up. Now, she's like a 65-pound big slab of beef dog. She jumps up on me, and she knocks me back. She was freaking out. It was, oh my God. My point is this. I'm in this virtual reality world, and then the real world jumps on me. It was just a very strange thing. But now she's good. She only jumped on me once. You know why? Because I did my knee thing. When the dog jumps and you raise your knee and it hits him right in the chest, and she fell backwards, and she's like, all right, won't be jumping on you anymore. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's check some of the news aggregators, see if there's anything new that's, oh my God. See, I stayed off the news aggregators today because it's all indictment circus. Trump greets arraignment with showmanship. Scott, rivals turn critical. Pence says it can't be defended. John Kelly blasts former boss. Republicans privately acknowledge serious legal woes. Oh, God. Ex-Chief of Staff John Kelly, he's scared shitless. Okay. And then, so there's not. So the aggregators today, it's all a million different stories about the whole Trump indictment thing. Saturn moon has all ingredients needed for life. That's a headline. That's a headline I'm not interested in. All right, that's it. We got nothing else. We're 20 minutes early. I'm sorry. We're just going to end this 20 minutes early. I don't know what happened. I thought I had a full show prepared today. You know what it is? I started right at noon. I started right at the top of the 12 o'clock hour. And then, that's not it. That's not it. Hold on, that's not it. No. Holy cow, John Hinckley's got a lot of songs. Oh, for crying out loud. All right, here you go. Here's the closing theme. Tip the show if you can. I'd be appreciated. This show runs on your gratuities. Also, you can frequent the fine establishment there at 13740 Midway Road. It's called Sacred Oils for all your CBDs, your deltas, your THCAs, your edibles, your smokables. They've got flour. They've got everything. You walk in there, take it home, watch a little something, maybe pick up a bucket of chicken. I'm craving that. I'm craving Kentucky Fried Chicken, but I'm not eating. I've completely eliminated fast food. I have not had fast food in over a month. That's pretty good for me. I am craving Kentucky Fried Chicken, original recipe, because I'm not a communist. Original recipe. Colonel Harlan Sanders, one of our greatest founding fathers, he intended that original recipe to be the American preferred recipe. Then during the Cold War, you communists rose up and you made them make it extra crispy. No, original recipe. I'm craving a bucket of chicken. Anyway, go to 13740 Farmers Branch, 13740 Midway Road. That's Sacred Oils. You tell them Pugs 20, you get 20% off anything you get there. Then you go, you pick up your bucket of chicken, and then you go watch Netflix. I don't know if there's anything on Netflix. You know what I'm watching? Well, you know what I'm watching. I've been watching this old FX series called Tyrant, which is really good. Watching like one episode of that a night. And I'm still making my way through Friday Night Lights. And you know what I've discovered? I am now in season 5, the final season of Friday Night Lights. And I've discovered that I have never seen season 5 of Friday Night Lights before. Because it's the season, they were on NBC, I think, for the first 4 seasons. And then they switched to like DirecTV or something. So I never saw the last season. So I'm watching the final season. He's at Coach Taylor's over at East Dillon now. He's no longer at Dillon coaching the Panthers. He's now at East Dillon. That's the ghetto school. Their words, not mine. He's at the ghetto school, coaching up the East Dillon Lions. And they're looking pretty good. It's going to rain. Is it going to rain again today? Let's see. It's just gray. It's just gray and hot. All right, guys, I love you. We'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock for Radio Misfits featuring Pugs, me, James Parker, and E. That's tonight at 9 o'clock, the Radio Misfits stream right here on the Radio Misfits podcast and live streaming platform.